Okay, I actually do hate some books. Hi, my name's Katelyn, and I'm about to eat my own words. A while back, I said this.
I'm pretty easy to please book-wise. There's very few books that have come out of saying, like, I didn't like any part of it. It was horrible. Like, I've never had that experience just because I usually find something in the story that I like.
After I said this, I feel like in the back of my brain, the wheels started to turn because there are, in fact, some books that I really didn't like. And I've been stewing over them for the past few weeks, and now I am ready to discuss. Let's start with my most controversial one. I'm so sorry. I know, I'm honestly ashamed that I didn't like this. Hate is a strong word for this one, but I'm gonna be honest, I didn't connect with the character really. I was frustrated with her, and I feel like not a lot of plot happened, and I was pretty unsatisfied with the ending. I want to try V.E. Schwab's other books because I think I'll like them better. And I know the writing is good because the writing is good in this book. I just don't think this particular story meshed with me really well, but I know that this is a lot of people's favorite book. So I think it's just one of those ones that either you clicked with and fall in love with, or you didn't love it, or maybe DNF'd it. I did finish it because it was for a book club book that I was reading, so I felt the need to continue. Next on my list is Conversations with Friends. I did not like this book. I'm just gonna go ahead and call myself on it that I don't think I like reading sophisticated literary books. I saw this book getting great reviews, so I think that's what it is. It's very like literary in its nature. But as I was reading it, I felt like it was slow and pretty infuriating. And I think the author knew that they were gonna get some reactions like that. I feel like the book is primarily about an affair, and I hate reading about cheating. Like I just never like stories with it. Love triangles are a little different, but in this case, one of the characters is like fully married. I just hate it. It made me feel like kind of gross reading it. And I think there was like a really big age gap, and not in the okay 500-year age gap, but in the uncomfortable, weird power dynamic, like 10 to 15 age year gap. And like he's in an industry she's kind of adjacent to, and like she knew the wife. I just didn't enjoy it. I've talked about this one before because it did indeed scar me, and I do actually hate it that much. And that is Where the Red Fern Grows. Pros on pros on pros on dog deaths. Same idea with The Yearling. I specifically remember reading like 5 pages about smoke billowing in the wind. These were mandatory school reading, like 5th and 6th grade. This is why so many people don't read a book after high school. And it's because they think that they hate reading. No, they hate the books that they were assigned. And then they never gave reading another shot because they think it's boring and sad and long paragraphs. That's a bigger discussion for another time, but I swear like that is my soapbox when it comes to get people reading again, because it's hard to convince them that they'll actually enjoy it after most of their experiences in school were bad with it. Next up is The Duff, or at least the version that I read of it. And I kind of think I didn't read the actual book. Somehow I found a PDF of it that was completely legal, and I read it. I remember there being so many typos and so much repetition, and I didn't like the main character in the book. And that's sort of why I feel like I got a weird version of it. Either it was a super early draft that somebody had downloaded, or someone tried to write their own version of it and pass it off as their own after the movie came out, like for reviews and stuff. What I read, I was not a fan of. The Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires. I'm actually convinced that this is one of those cases where it's a good book, but I'm the wrong audience. I went into the book solely because I thought the title was funny and I liked the book cover design. But alas, it wasn't in any of my normal sections. I just saw it in that main front section of like the new releases in Barnes & Noble, and I didn't stop to read any reviews about it. I didn't really consider the genre. It was under their like fiction new releases. The Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires is a horror book. I don't do horror. It starts off as, I guess, a thriller. We meet a vampire. I'm conditioned from Twilight and Vampire Diaries to like vampires. I immediately assumed that this guy was the love interest. This is not the case. I don't want to spoil it in case you do read it, because I'll admit it was super captivating. But when I got to the final quarter of the book, and it was revealed to me that this is straight up gory horror, or at least what I consider to be gory horror. To you, it might be mild scariness. I'm not built like that. I was shooketh. I was listening to the audiobook and I was like, I'm so close to the end, you know, like I can handle it. I might as well finish it. I was so invested in the lives of the women in this book because there was also a really interesting commentary going on about like what it means to be a mother and a wife in this era of time. I think it was 1950s or 60s. And so I also wanted to stick around for that. But no, it was all a mistake. I continued to drive and I didn't turn it off. And like out loud, like, oh no, oh no, oh no. So at the end of the day, I probably would have liked this book had it just stuck to being a thriller. Probably would have liked it a lot if it had, you know, gone the romance route, like Twilight, but adultier. But because of that ending, I don't think I really like the book, and it continues to freak me out to this day. I'm now wary of vampires forever. All right, my number one most hated book of all time. I don't even want to speak the name. Robinson Crusoe. As an English major, I was forced to read this book by my English professor who claimed that this is the first novel ever written. If you Googled that fact, a couple different things come up, but Robinson Crusoe definitely is one of those, might have been the first. And it shows. It was published in 1719, and it is straight up 1,000,000 pages of no paragraph breaks. What happened in the book, you ask? I could not tell you. Nothing was retained other than the fact that I'm pretty sure there was a shipwreck, and the style of the novel is sort of like the captain's log of being shipwrecked. I just remember trying my best to read it and thinking that it was gonna go on forever and that I was never gonna escape it. But sure, he's a pioneer for all writers. Good job, Daniel Defoe, for doing the thing. I have mixed feelings about you as a person. So that's my list. So those are the books that I hated or at least disliked. Like I mentioned, for most of these, a lot of them, the writing is good, the story is probably good, and in most cases, like, I'm just the wrong audience, because there's nothing wrong with those authors or their work. I just didn't personally mesh well with the stories, and I wanted to share. I'm interested in what you think. Do you love any of these books? Do you also hate these books? Do you have hated books that I didn't include on the list? Spill the tea. Let me know in the comments. Please like this video if you liked it, and click subscribe if you want to talk about more book stuff. My name's Katelyn. Thanks for watching. Bye!